Money means security for me. For him, money means freedom.
I've been thinking about that so much. Like, how much longer am I going to be behind the chair? It's not like I don't want to work in the hair industry, but like, how long can I keep this up for?
What we do is hair, but that's not who we are. We're complex beings. There's a lot to us.
Start small for sure, especially if you're still young.
We need to have our money make money.
Yeah.
Welcome back, all you successful stylists, to the Successful Stylist Academy podcast. I'm your host, Ambrosia, Carey. We are going to be talking about some hard truths that are happening on the back end of our business. And today I have a girlfriend, Harley Chapman, who's going to be hanging out with us today. We actually were talking just the other day about kind of just like our exit strategy as a hairstylist. And it's never too early to start this process. So no matter where you are in your business, this is something that can relate to, I would hope, all of us business and beauty professionals that are listening in. Before we get into this, though, I wanted to let you guys know that we have our next Successful Hairstylist 4-week container that's starting in November of this year. We will put the link down in the show notes if you're interested in checking this out. This is just to join the wait list. You'll be getting more information on that later. This is a really great way for you to revisit your goals for the end of the year, but also just to get on track with some things that might not work well for your business behind the chair that we can set goals for in the future. So without further ado, let's hang out with Harley and talk about some of the icky stuff that we don't really want to talk about, but we really need to talk about. Harley, how are you doing? And let's talk a little bit about that, your exit strategy and all those things that you were saying the other day.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I've been thinking about retirement a lot, which is kind of funny. I'm about to turn 30 and it's like all I can think about, getting older and stuff like that. So I'm excited that you wanted to talk about it more with me.
I'm happy to. And this is also something that I think more people are being open to discussing because, it's really great that we are paying attention to our prices and like what we're making today, but having a strategy to put in place for the future. So that way we make sure that we're securing ourselves. Because as we know, inflation is growing faster than the income we're able to receive behind the chair. That means that we need to have our money make money.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I would love to hear a little bit more about maybe just your background and what got you to thinking about this in the first place.
I feel like a lot of things have kind of like come up and it's all been based off of another thing. And it's like been an endless cycle to like kind of get me to where I am right now and like my current thinking, I guess. I think... so I've done hair for 10 years. I've been self-employed for 6. And I think for the first few years of being self-employed, I was just like grinding and hustling and like just, trying to build the business. And now that the business is built and it's doing well and thriving, it's like, okay, what's next? And how long is what I've been doing going to be sustainable? And I realized that it's really not. The way that I have ran my business for the first few years, I can't continue that way. I can't continue to work 10-hour days for the rest of forever and take as many clients as possible with the hope that I'm going to have enough money by the time I'm in my 60s. And it's also really dawned on me that that's not even possible. It's not even possible to take that many clients to like do that much hair to get you to retirement. There's got to be more in between that's not just doing clients to get you there. So I've really been in a big transitional phase, I guess, with my business over the past year of like building passive income and like scaling back behind the chair. I'm still behind the chair a lot, and I don't foresee that going away for a very long time. But it's just been really interesting, like how else can I make money to prepare for the future and actually like opening up retirement accounts for the first time. I think because of what we do, hairstylists don't really think about that because we're not even offered retirement accounts from salons. That's not really a thing in the industry. So if you want a retirement plan, you're going to have to go figure it out how to do that on your own. So it's been really interesting. These are like things that I've never learned about before. So it's new.
Yeah.
But it's also been like really exciting, and it's definitely helping me like get to the next level.
You're right. I think a lot of salons don't even look into that, or it does cost the salon quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
So I think, just having that on your radar as a hairstylist, even if you're listening to this and you're looking for a salon home, I think that's something worth considering and looking around, because there are some salons like mine, for instance, we're a commission-based salon and we offer 401k benefits and we match
really
by 3%, which is,
Mhm.
you're right though, Harley, it's super unusual. There's not very many people that offer that. And the
Mhm.
conversation's almost not happening from the very beginning, from the
Yeah.
jump. Like, we're not hearing it
And
in
most
beauty
of us
schools.
are independent. So
Yes. Yeah, there's a
if that's
lot.
you, no one's going to offer you retirement.
Right. Yeah. It's all on your hands. So,
Yeah.
okay. So walk us through, like, you're having that awareness piece. You're starting to find other ways of earning money outside of the chair. What have you found successful so far in that journey, as far as, is it through affiliate links or is it through other things that you've been creating on your sidelines?
A few different things. I feel like I have my hands in multiple areas of the industry. So, like, I'm behind the chair doing salon stuff. I mostly do weddings, though. And then my passive income streams right now are my own online education. I launched a course almost exactly a year ago. So that's done really well. And then affiliate links, like I have a commission link through Air that actually surprisingly pays a lot. And then I'm also on the pro education team for Air as well. So that's another stream. And then learning about investing now as well. So a few different things. And like, I think a big realization for me is like, you don't need to be an expert to like start this.
Yeah.
You can start right where you're at right now. There are like, I mean, I only named like 3. There's like an endless amount of things that you can do for passive income. It's really cool once you start like getting into it and kind of figuring it out. It's like, oh, I could make money off of that. Or like, I could do this once and continue to make money off of it.
Yes.
And I don't have to like show up and do someone's hair and like hope that they show up to their appointment, you know?
Right. Exactly. I know. Okay. So you started talking a little bit about just like starting out that process with saving the money or starting your retirement account. Have you started that process already? I know that's something you were kind of looking into. Like, what have you learned during this process as you're looking?
Yeah. So I have a Roth IRA investment account. I don't know if I'm using the right words, but I have that account now. I opened it up about a year ago. So it doesn't have a ton of money in it or anything. But that's kind of the point. Like, the money grows over years and years and years. So even if you're contributing just a little bit to it each month, 30 years from now, like, it's going to have grown by a lot. So that's been interesting because I really didn't know anything about investing before opening that account. And like, it's actually really simple. I think it seems really scary to people, but like, I did it online. I listened to some podcasts, like I did watch some YouTube videos about investing. It is interesting when you're self-employed, like the type of account that you can get, because it is different than like an account that an employer would offer you. So I'm 100% self-employed. I am the boss. So nobody is opening it for me. I had to go figure out how to do it. So you have to kind of learn the differences between like a 401k and a Roth IRA, but it's really not that hard to just do a quick Google search, figure out which one is right for you, and then open the account online. I think it is important to speak with a financial advisor, especially like if you have a partner or a spouse who also has a retirement fund, maybe through an employer. Your financial situation is going to look a little bit different than somebody who's like only self-employed. So it's really not that hard though. Like, I thought that it was going to be like this big, huge, scary thing, and it's not. And it's cool to like log into my account and like, oh, cool, the interest is growing, and like my money has more than what I contributed to it. So
absolutely. So when it comes to that, we hear that you open up a Roth IRA. Are you contributing the max for the year? Are you doing just annual contribution? Or are you doing it month to month?
I've just been doing it month to month, so I haven't maxed it out yet. I would like to max it this year though. So I think the max is 6,000, if I'm correct.
Something like that. Is it 6,000 or 6,500? I can't remember. I know they increased it a little bit.
Old you are.
Yes.
I did a lot of Googling the other day to prepare for this.
And how much income you make too.
Yes. Requirements.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us a little bit about what you, I guess, discovered during that initial searching phase? Because
Yes.
I feel like Google and YouTube can be an amazing resource to learn, but it could also be the opposite, because it's like you can find any information on anything, whether it's wrong, right, or indifferent, no matter what it is that you look for. So during your process of searching, I think process of elimination, knowing obviously you being self-employed and wanting to find something that is going to be the right setup for you, how did you come to the conclusion of opening up Roth IRA? And what did you learn during the process, I suppose? If you did seek the advice of a financial advisor, how did you narrow that down?
Okay, so first, I went to somebody in my life who I know knows a lot about this. So that would honestly be a good place to start. Like, I'm sure there's a friend or a family member who is super into investing and like who has all of this figured out, and not all of it figured out, but like, has good information to offer. So I went to my sister-in-law because she's super into all of this. She was the one who like sat with me when I opened up the account, which is just through Charles Schwab. So like, that's just an online bank. You can just go on their website and open one up right now.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a good place to start, with somebody who like is in it and who has experience in what it's actually like, and watching their money grow and has multiple accounts and things like that. So I started there and then started like listening to podcasts and whatnot. But in terms of what kind of account to open up, so the most common ones are a 401k and a Roth IRA. There's two types of 401k. So there's a solo 401k and then an employer-sponsored 401k. So those are different depending on if you are an employee or if you're not. So if you're not an employee like me, you can have a solo 401k, but there are a lot more like rules, I would say, around it. You probably want a financial advisor to like handle your solo 401k because there's more maintenance that needs to be done for it. Or if you are an employee of a salon that does offer a 401k plan, like an employer-sponsored 401k plan, then I would definitely set one up there, because if your employer is going to match your contribution, like that's a really big deal. So I would totally take advantage of that. But if you don't fit into either one of those categories, then you're going to be a Roth IRA, which was what I opened. So contributions to a Roth IRA are made with after-tax dollars. So a 401k and an IRA are kind of opposite of each other in terms of like how they're taxed. So a 401k is the pre-tax, right? Where you're going to pay the taxes when you eventually withdraw the money.
Mm-hmm.
An IRA is the opposite. So you're going to pay as you're contributing, but then it reduces your taxable income. So that's another thing where if you have a large amount of money in your accounts and stuff, you should probably speak with a financial advisor to figure out what's going to be the most beneficial to you. There are some like limits to how much you can put in, when you can withdraw it. Like you have to be a certain age for some of these accounts and stuff like that. You can, with a Roth IRA, you can take out the money like in case of an emergency. So you can kind of like take out a loan against yourself. So there are some pros and cons to like either account. But I would say if you're independent, like I am, start out with a Roth IRA. As your money and like wealth grows, consider opening up the other accounts. But it's easy to start with a Roth IRA and just like a little bit at a time if you're not ready to max it out. And you can watch the interest grow every month. And it's pretty exciting, I think, to like log in and like, ooh, look at that. I didn't have to do anything.
So I think the main thing for you guys listening right now to keep in mind between the two types of accounts is that one is pre-tax, one is post-tax. And the benefit of that is obviously diversifying the amount of money that you're paying out when you first put that money in. But the most important part is that in the future, when you take that money out, you don't want to have to pay too much taxes when you're taking that money out, because then that's taxable income. And if you have any other sources of income coming in when you're able to do that, then it could put you possibly in a higher income tax bracket, and then you'll get charged a higher interest rate, which is not what you want. Right. So that's, I think, a really important factor to even think about to begin with. And that's kind of what I hear from you, Harley, when you're talking about that. So I think the other thing that I learned that I want to just tag on to this that I've learned in time is between my husband and I, we have 8 investment portfolios. So we have a lot,
That's
but
cool.
we're in the same place as you, Harley. We want to diversify as much as possible because nobody really knows what's going to happen with the market. And so those investments may look something like there's retail investment accounts. There's like kind of what you were saying. There's the pre and post tax. There are portfolios that are wrapped into our employers' employment. Well, I'm the employer and employee. So it's kind of like that's where it benefits me. That's where being a commission salon owner is beneficial. But there's some other things that I learned in the process where the way I want to diversify my income, I'm a little bit more moderate. My husband is a little bit more willing to try things that I may not feel as comfortable with because money means security for me. For him, money means freedom. So he's more apt to try things, which is kind of nice to have that balance.
Right.
But long story short, the reason why I wanted to add to this is I discovered that a lot of financial advisors, they'll typically charge a percentage. And unless you have really complex portfolios, which I think for all of you guys listening to this podcast right now, including myself, including Harley, we don't have complex portfolios. We don't have multi-million-dollar portfolios here that things need to be moved around all the time. We're not investors. So my advice is when you're seeking a financial advisor, ask them what their commission structure looks like and what they charge. Because some people charge literally a flat fee for moving that money around on a quarterly basis. And I have learned that is a lot less expensive because I'm going to tell you guys this, as your portfolio grows and you hit that $1 million mark or above, that 1%, that's a lot of money to pay out. Right. For them to just do the bare minimum. So especially when it comes to like an S&P. Anyway, I don't want to go too far off the rails with that conversation, but I did want to add that in because that was a huge learning thing that I actually only learned a year ago. And I was a little surprised by that because I don't know how much money total I've been paying out to my financial advisor in the past. But mine is not complex. I already told you guys, I don't like to take really big risks. I like to set and forget. I just want to pay off the monthly. And, he's made a lot of money for very little transactions. So that's where I kind of switched things a little bit. Anyway, didn't want to take the mic from you, Harley. I want to hear a little bit more about just like as you started this journey and stuff, what has that sparked for you? Like what would you like to pass on? Or I guess if you could say things to your younger self, like, now that you have this awareness piece, what would you say to the listeners who are not really in that discovery phase right now, or they're just trying to think about their future a little bit?
I know what it feels like to live client to client, and that's a really stressful place. And when you're in that place, you're like, I don't even care about investing. I don't even care about retirement. I just need to make sure that I have clients this week. So I totally understand if you are in that place. But you have to get out of that place. Like you can't just sit where you're comfortable and then hope that 30 years from now, you're going to have enough money to maybe retire. And something that's really clicked with me, again, with me turning 30, like I'm not even old, but I'm all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, like life just feels so different than it did in my early 20s. And like, do you really want to take clients until you're 65? That's like been a question that's just going over and over in my mind. Like, do I really want to be an old hairstylist? And like, old's not the right word. And if you do want to be doing hair at that age, of course, there's nothing wrong with it. But I think about my current clientele and like, I mostly do weddings. These girls are in their 20s to early 30s. Like, they're probably not going to hire the 60-year-old hairstylist to come and do their wedding, or maybe they will. That'd be cool, I guess. But I've been thinking about that so much. Like, how much longer am I going to be behind the chair? It's not like I don't want to work in the hair industry, but like, how long can I keep this up for? And I have a goal to stop taking clients in 10 years. So ask me in 10 years how it's going. But I just think it's really important to think about, especially like you and I have chatted about in terms of like your physical health and stuff like that. Like, I've been dealing with a lot of that, and that's been a big eye opener to like, how much longer can I do this? And I've had to really create boundaries around like how many clients a day I'll take and how many weddings a week and things like that. but still like preparing for the future in the same way. And, you got to raise your prices. Like that might be a spot where you have to start so that you have maybe an extra $100 at the end of the month to start planning for the future or something like that. Like start small for sure, especially if you're still young. You do have time. Like that's something I try to also remind myself of, like, okay, I have enough time. Like I don't need to stress about this. I just need to start.
Yes.
So my hope with talking about this on Instagram and stuff is just for hairstylists to start thinking about it and to start thinking about passive income and other things that you can do that aren't just taking a client, because that's really just not super realistic to, only take clients for the rest of your career. So it's definitely been a confidence boost, and I like learning about new things. I think I often like get myself stuck in a box of like just being interested in learning about hair, but like also learning about investments and things like that is really important to keep you a good business owner. And, so I just hope that more hairstylists will start to think about it if they're not already starting to prepare.
I think you really worded it well, though, because it's not really a matter of whether or not you want to do something at a certain age or point in your life. It's that you don't want to have to do it like that, and you want to give yourself options to grow. And like you just said, what we do is hair, but that's not who we are. We're complex beings. There's a lot to us. We're smart. I think when we enter the industry, we focus on the hair so much and we kind of get stuck in that bubble where we're just like, our world is all about hair. And it's like, at some point you get to graduate to that next level where you can start to grow and spread your wings. And then that's where you can really diversify your income. It's not that you have to be obsessed with the money side of things. It's that money can grow for you because you set that part up. And I feel like what you just said there is so relevant in today's landscape. It's so relevant for hairstylists. I think a lot more people are interested in being savvy for their future selves. I see a lot more people wanting to take command of their own business. And I feel like this is a conversation that we should continue to keep revisiting as we learn more and develop more. So I want to thank you for coming on here, Harley, and just speaking about that in general. I really am excited about this continued growth in your journey and learning more and just passing that baton on and letting people know what you are learning. One of the main things that I was really drawn to about this conversation with you to begin with is the fact that you're talking about it as you're learning. It's not like you don't have to master it in order to turn it over to someone else. Yeah. Sometimes that discovery process is the more important part rather than like, look what I learned 10 years ago. Let me tell you now. No, it's like now is a more important time, like as you're doing it, because things change so fast now. And if we're not evolving with it and sharing as we're evolving with it, it's almost obsolete information by the time you share it if you wait until you master. So thank you for sharing this. Thank you for coming on here. I want to have you back again because I already know we're going to see more of you through Successful Stylist Academy. And I want to share your information below in the link. So I'll go ahead and put your Instagram handle, if that's okay with you, down below.
Of course. Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, guys, I want to encourage you, as always, to continue to dream big, set goals, take action. And we are here for you every step of the way. And we're excited to see you next week or chat with you next week. Thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you soon.